Hi, I'm Nick. I'm the assistant winemaker here at Halter Ranch. I started making wine and beer at home when I turned 18, and I've always been interested in humans' fascination with inebriation. So I'll be honest that my primary interest in winemaking was spurred by intoxication. As I get older and maybe mature a little bit, the interest is more for my palate and kind of finding different flavors and experiences in the world. I prefer to work with things that are unique. Being here at Halter is great for that. Work with a lot of really unique olive cultivars in the olive program. We do grow a significant amount of Cabernet, which I will be honest is not my favorite grape variety. Much more interested in the grapes that we get from the Rhone Valley, especially because I think they fit so well in this region. Grenache is kind of an easy target because depending on how and where it's grown in this area, it can give you some delicate nuanced fruit flavors that you can't really get from other grapes. And it has a delicate skin, so you can really kind of play with canopy cover and things like that. But I think Grenache is an easy one. We love Picpoul here as well, Picpoul Blanc, and I love the acidity that white grape provides. So that's I think in the past several years really come into its own, or maybe still coming into its own in Paso. But I think that Picpoul Blanc is a really exciting, really versatile, and really stable grape. So those are probably my favorite red and favorite white. Harvest is certainly the busiest time for us. I kind of fear what I call the cabalanche every year. Because, as I said, we grow quite a bit of Cabernet on the ranch mixed with the Rhones. So the Rhones, white and red, come off the vine at different times. The Cabernet hangs on out there, being a Bordeaux variety that ripens a little bit later. So we're always kind of waiting for the cab to ripen, and when it starts to ripen, it tends to ripen all at once. So that's definitely the busiest time of harvest, and then after the grape harvest we roll right into the olive harvest. So probably the end of August to the end of November, busiest time of year for me. I think the hardest part of the job is probably managing the tasks that need to be accomplished so that we can harvest a natural product and make a consistent packaged product from that harvested natural product. This is true with the olive oil as well as the wine. Settling does not always happen on the timeline that you would expect or prefer. Fermentations sometimes can lose steam at the end. The conversion of the malic acid into lactic acid can take a variable amount of time. And just kind of having the bigger picture in mind to best manage the fermentation as it progresses and make the right calls when they need to be made for the wine. I think that's probably the delicacy, is trying to apply a controlled scientific approach to a natural product. The thing that I admire most about Halter's take on winemaking is how much we move the wine after fermentation begins. There's a great stress in the program here on phenolic numbers, and we do quite a bit of movement with the wine to get the color compounds and tannin compounds where we want them to be in the wine. That's the part that was scariest to me when first starting in the cellar, because I had come from a tradition of more hands-off winemaking, where you brought the fruit in from the field and handled it as little as possible. This obviously can lead to a variable product which can be incredibly delightful and equally garbage based on what happens. I like my job primarily for the people that I work with, and also for the property where my job happens to be. I think this particular valley in the Adelaide region of Paso Robles has a ton of history. We find artifacts left over from the indigenous people that were here before the pioneers in the Adelaide settlement period. I think the ancestor tries to pay homage to these movements or influxes. So we have the ancestor tree, which obviously is pre-Columbian, so we have ancestors in the natural environment, we have the indigenous people who are ancestors, we have the pioneers who are ancestors, and we have our ancestors across the pond whose grapes we grow in this region where we find ourselves. So I think that, yeah, the happiest part of being here at Halter is not just the people that I work with, but the incredibly beautiful natural surrounding in which we find ourselves. My day-to-day job can include anything from cellar work to forklifting to working on irrigation to weed abatement in one of the olive groves. It really can involve anything and everything here on the ranch. The thing that I enjoy most about the Paso Robles wine industry is the fact that the Rhone grape varieties have found a home here outside of France. I think that the Rhone Rangers and the Perrin and Haas families have been working on this program, for lack of a better term, since the 70s, and I think it's been a swimming success. I think that the climate and the soil here grow these Rhone varieties to a fantastic representation of what the grapes are. I think I'd just like to touch on Hanzerg's program of sustainability worldwide. Major contributing factor to why I'm so happy working here at Halter. In the belly of an area, a watershed that was used extensively by indigenous people before the pioneers, and now we're very fortunate to have access to. So yes, final thoughts, good feelings. So you just want me to open it and read it?
Yeah, open it and read it to the camera.
It's a wonderful day at Halter Ranch. Are you trying to wind me up? My wife always said, it's not good to keep things bottled up. She has never once said that. There is a hair in my wine. The grapes must have been fermented. Really bad, really bad. Goodbye everyone for now. I hope you enjoyed this delicious tidbit of a video. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. Please enjoy the wine.